Hello everybody, my name is The Geek, and welcome back to a very different video. Today I want to talk about a little project that I've been working on in the background for the last year and a half. A small project that I would love to get off the ground, and this is more a video talking to both people who would be interested on the creative process, but also see if I get anybody who'd be interested on trying to just help me make this project get done. Animators, illustrators, anybody who has talent who's interested by this project, whether paid or volunteered, I would sincerely like any kind of volunteer help. So I want to talk about the project, let you know what I have plotted and where I'd like to take the project. So here it is. Now this project is currently going by the working name of Finding Love Again in the Manga Shop. It's a small little project that I have both ideas how to do it both visually and how to kind of portray it. In order to get it kind of best pictured for a lot of people, I need to talk about everything that kind of goes into the project. The characters themselves, a few smaller details on visualizations, and some of the plot stuff. Not everything plot related, but I will be talking about some of the plot related items in this video. Now, in order to get this well done, I need to establish that this, to friends who might be watching, is a little close to home for me, so you'll see when you see it. First of all, let's talk about the main characters who need to be established to kind of set up the opening scene. First of all, we have our main character currently running with the name of Kudai. He is a 25-year-old man who has recently been dumped by his ex prior to their wedding date. He helps run a manga shop with his best friend, and he is we'll say, probably pretty standard. Wouldn't say too skinny, wouldn't say too fat. Middle of the ground, and he's a very diligent man. He loves his manga and anime, but he's not entirely carefree and everything. Kind of good compared to his buddy, who is I have a name here, Hayakawa. Hayakawa, I would explain as that skinny blonde guy who's a little too cool looking compared to his actual personality on the backside. Down to earth, but he's always there to help his buddies out. Even though him and Kudai are running the shop together, one thing that should be established is that he is officially the store owner / manager because Kudai does not have any interest on actually running the shop. No interest at all. He wants to just be basically running the counter. While our friend Hayakawa is the cool friend who's always in the background helping out, but with a crippling gacha game addiction. Even though he never puts the shop in stress, he's got himself into such a bad hole that he has to live in the apartment above the shop because he's just critically keeps using all of his money that he earns from the shop to do gacha pulls. And a lot of time throughout the series, you'll see the character in the corner of the shop looking like I'm dead, don't look at me, I'm a worm. That kind of mechanic. And of course, we have the character of the ex. Now, for now, her name's not important, but we need to establish that this character had a very good relationship with Kudai. They had a great relationship all throughout. They were together from when they got out of high school to the point where she left. And all we're going to say for her is that she is a beautiful young woman who left prior to the events of the series. Basically 2 weeks before the events of the series, Kudai came home to find a note and a ring left behind. Most of her stuff was left behind, and that's where our series is going to pick up. Anyone else who's important for the series, we're not going to bring up quite yet, because we need to kind of get to them in the storyboard. Now let's talk about the thing that made me want to do this series, and that was the establishment of my first and my final scene. So we're going to open up the first scene of the entire series. We're going to come to an apartment, little complex, where we'll see birds chirping on the outside. I'm thinking like a 2-story thing. If you need visualizations, I would say maybe something similar to, if anyone's watched The Devil is a Part-Timer, I'd say maybe that kind of apartment complex, but maybe a little fancier and more put together. No offense to our boy Stadal Mao, but it is something that I could. His place isn't exactly the fanciest. Now, as we establish the first scene, we need to say that it will open up with 4 important scenes, both animation and visually. When our main character starts to move, we're going to go to the first important panel or animation scene I want to show, which is an establishing shot of his kitchen, especially focusing on the sink. One thing I want to show is the sink has piled up with dishes, but noticeably 2 rice dishes in there dirty. One dish that we can tell maybe has a blue tint to it, and one that will be kept in the shadows in the back. Never really able to tell what the full color of that rice dish is. Of course, our character will start to kind of move, maybe rub his eyes. And then we're going to go to the next panel / scene I really want to focus on, which is going to be showing the living room. Now, I want to show the living room is in complete disarray. Game control with a wire running across the ground. A bunch of places like 7-Eleven wrappers and empty ramen dishes on the ground, like ramen containers on the ground. Kind of just showing that he's in complete disarray and everything's just a huge mess for him. Of course, our next thing I want to show is him finally getting up, looking at his phone. Maybe he'll have some messages coming through from our boy Hayakawa. And then we'll go to the third scene I want to have as an establishing shot / panel, which is going to show one of those makeshift metal shelves that has like a bunch of his appliances, and I want to show that those are covered in dust. Show that they haven't been used for a while, and just show that like the house is kind of generally has this unused, like nothing's happening, no one's really making food for themselves kind of mentality, showing that our main Kudai has just completely shut down during the events of this breakup. And then, of course, we'll have another scene where finally Kudai's out of bed and he starts getting dressed because he hasn't been to work for 2 weeks. So he needs to finally get back in there and make sure that Hayakawa hasn't put the shop up for so he can get more gotcha pulls. But the final establishing shot is a very important one that's going to kind of show how we're going to handle the X a little bit. We're going to have a table that we're going to pan to, or have a panel of, which will show a small table with a framed photo of one of them will be our main character. Have him smiling, shaved fully because, he really let himself get pretty scruffy during these events. And we're also going to then show that there's a beautiful silhouette of woman there beside him, but no facial features. That's a big thing. Throughout the entirety of the series, I want there to be no facial features for the X. She's supposed to be not important. She's out of mind, out of sight, and that's a very deliberate design choice. And when I talk to you about the final scene, that's going to make a lot more sense. Then after that, we're going to have him finally... He is going to glance at the picture as he's about to walk out the door, and here is one of my small things I want to do. Both manga-related, webcomic, or animation, no matter what it's going to be, I want anytime that he is having a strong emotion or some kind of connection with one of the other characters, for there to be a complete fade out of him and it to show a different color aura. Here, he is going to be covered in a dark aura with a dark red tint. And that's very important. Color theory or color concepts and everything is very important for how I want to do this series. I want anytime that he is having some kind of like good or negative emotion, I want that color to be represented. And whenever he looks at anything related to the X character, I want that to be how we establish his mindset is at a low point and he's not doing good. A dark black aura with red accents around it to show just how much despair he is in. But at that point, that's when Kudai would leave his apartment, kind of sighing after he looked at the picture, and he's off to the manga shop. Now, this is going to be the establishing shot where we have him talk about his tragic anime backstory about him being broke up. And that's a very important thing. I want this to be we're establishing how broke up he is about stuff, how much it's messed with his head, and how his headset is. Then he's going to walk in the shop, and we're going to show kind of like a bromance between Hayakawa and him. Kind of give him the like, oh, hey, we're not gay, but we have this like very strong establishing friendship and everything. And that is where Hayakawa is going to drop the, so, bro, I have some bad news for you. So, I know you didn't want it, but, I hired someone while you were gone. You what? Yeah, sorry, man, I just needed to, well, listen, I'm not gonna run this shop, you know it's not me. You mean you, listen, I'm a co-owner, you should probably talk to me about... Dude, you've been MIA for 2 weeks. I don't want to hear a thing about I should have consulted you. I kind of have a back and forth between the two of them. Like, the most serious they're going to be during this opening scene. And that is where we're going to be introduced to our new girl, a.k.a. the first part of the harem. Yes, this is a harem series, but it's not your stereotypical harem where the main character is a loser. There's no reason why anybody would want to be with him. Not that kind of thing. We're not going to have the nose bleeding character where, oh my god, she looked at me a certain way. No. Kudai is not that kind of main character. He's been in a relationship. He was in a relationship for many years. He's not going to get nosebleeds as a girl shows interest in him. He's not a virgin. Unlike many harem protagonists. So don't worry, we're not going to have that kind of thing. So, our new girl is called Shizu. Now, Shizu is a very nice girl down to earth. Now, her design is kind of hard to peg down because it depends if we're going to go more realistic with her design or if we're going to have a more anime look to her. A good example of this would be if we are going more realistic, I'm going to have her have dark hair with a blue accent, like a blue strand of hair in her head, hair on her head. And if she is a more anime girl, she's just going to have blue hair. It depends on what design process we're going with. And yet again, this is all depending on who can help me with the project. I'm not an animator. I'm not a designer. I'm not a drawer. I need other people to help me design characters. Now, she is going to be 22. That's a big part. I want to have established that when she was in high school, she ran into this very manga store, and unbeknownst to Kudai, he sold her a manga series when she was at a very low point in her high school life. Kind of bullied by the other girls, and that little spark of kindness and friendship that came from Kudai kind of helped her get through high school. And when she finally saw there was a job opening at the manga store, well, she jumped at it. Gonna have it kind of established. She's had a crush on him for years, but she didn't really have an opportunity on how to talk or approach him. And this can be just one of those things where there's a lot of those glancing blush looks, and slowly establishing the friendship and kinship between Kudai and Shizu. I would say that's going to be a 15-minute episode and a half, kind of setting up just their dynamic. Or if this is more of a manga, web novel thing, I'm thinking maybe 5 to 8 chapters, depending on the pacing and what feels more appropriate at the time. Showing up the thing, him teaching her how to run the store, and also like him maybe defending her against guys or old people who walk into the store and don't quite understand where they're at, that kind of thing. Then we're going to be, and also anytime that she has a small moment with Kudai that gets his heart bump bump, everything's going to go white, and her color is going to be baby blue. It's going to have that thing where like it's a little bubbles of light going off between them. That's kind of my color theory on that one. I want that, Shizu have that kind of bluish color thing. Not why she has blue hair, but in the blue accent, but that's kind of more why I was thinking going with the blue, just to make it look more visually appealing. Then, after a couple of chapters or manga, we're going to be introduced to our second character. And this is Tanda. And for anyone wondering, this is going to be the tsundere character. Yes, the tsundere character. The, I don't like you, baka. That kind of character. And I'm having in my head the idea that Tanda is going to be a failed social media star. Always kind of posting stuff on a ambiguous live streaming site and just never getting the kind of views she wants. One day, as a viewer request, she goes to the manga store in question to kind of poke fun at it and make fun of it. But during a stunt by a comment where she gets on a high thing and almost falls, she's ironically princess caught, like, the princess carry by Kudai, and she has that moment of the bump bump. Whole screen goes white. Her color theming is yellow. And basically after that point, she'll start showing up to the store, and she'll be doing like off-the-cuff research on manga and anime and stuff like that, so she can kind of appeal more to Kudai and try to act like she has knowledge. Except for a lot of time, Shizu will be in the background going, she's an idiot. She doesn't know what to do. And due to that, there's going to be an unsung rivalry between these two characters. A bit of a back and forth arguing and everything. Oh, wait. I read that incorrectly on my notes. Sorry, Tanda is going to have the green accent, not the yellow accent. I apologize. But now Tanda is not going to have green hair. I imagine she is going to have blonde hair. She's going to be 23. I'd say she's going to be a bit more... I didn't really talk about chest size when it came to Shizu. Shizu's going to be more moderate, not flat, but just kind of average. But then I'm going to have Tanda be the more... she's going to be more robust, boom, when it comes to the breast size. Not to the point that she's like bouncing ridiculous, but just obviously bigger than Shizu. And of course, I plan on then having a big sense of like time period where like these two are rivals / frenemies. And during this point, we're going to have one of the first points in which Kudai is going to have a character breakdown. Something's going to happen during this time period. Rather, he's going to slightly see his ex, or something that they're opening is going to remind him of his ex, and it's going to have him have a breakdown. That's one thing I want to do for Kudai. I want Kudai to have a strong sense of character with his emotions. I don't want Kudai being just some, no name, everything's fine. No, Kudai is going to be established that he has more baggage from this breakup than we're going to realize at first. Big thing with that is I want to make sure that the emotions of Kudai, I need to make sure are established more realistically. I want him to have real emotions. I don't want this hollow husk of a emotionless character who's just happy he's gaining attention from girls. No, I don't want that. I want Kudai to be more down to earth. I want his emotions to be on his shoulder. He's gone through a terrible breakup, and I want him to show that to the audience. And I'm not really going to be shy to say I want this to be something just set up for him. Kudai is going to be emotional. He's going to have his moments where he completely shuts down emotionally. I don't want some dead character that's just like, oh, I have no emotions. No, Kudai is not going to be like that. Kudai is going to have real emotions. He lost his fiance 2 weeks prior to the events of the series starting. Now, time frame, I want to establish that probably a bunch of these chapters are going to be roughly, I'd say 3 and 4 weeks into the breakup period. And that's when we get introduced to our third character, the one who does have the yellow color. And we're going to introduce you to Kuziki. Now, Kuziki's character is, imagine your head, 28-year-old woman. This is the mommy character. The one who you expect to walk in and hear, Ara, Ara. You know, that kind of character. I'm thinking red hair, glasses, voluptuous figure. I mean, she is, boom, 10 out of 10 mommy character. And I'm thinking that she's going to probably be about a foot taller than both girls. And even kind of be a bit taller than Kudai. Now, when she's introduced, I want it to be established that there was a bit of a fighting going on between Shizu and Tanda at the moment. And they're kind of fighting, and like Kudai's like, we really shouldn't fight, girls. And remember, the customer's always right. And like the kind of like... And I want to see in the background, Kuzuki shows up, and she's talking to Hayakawa. And, of course, obviously, whatever she says, she pushes him to the side. She's going to trounce in, push against the girls, and she's going to put her hand on the chin and then, like, the cheek of Kudai and just go, I heard you're single now. Me and you're going on a date tonight. Wear something nice. And she's going to leave like her business card, which I should explain. She is a manga artist. That's a big thing about her. She's a manga artist, and the only times that she comes into the manga shop is about every month when her newest volume goes on sale. And we're not going to say what kind of manga artist she is quite yet. I don't really have that detail. I'm not sure if she's going to be the more shonen kind of thing, or if she'll be like the romance writer, or how even the more arrow kind of writer. I haven't established that yet. I think arrow's probably not going to be something I'll go with, because that's kind of too often what those kind of characters write. I don't know. I don't think arrow is a good fit for her. But it's something that I really want to make for her. And it's important detail. I want to... Now, when she does that, we're not going to have the yellow aura yet. Not yet. Now, obviously, Kudai is going to take this, and... because he really doesn't have a choice. We're also going to establish that it seems like... I'm sorry, I'm terrible with this name I gave her. Koziki. She seems to be a bit wealthy and maybe have some kind of bodyguard-like thing going on. But whenever they go out on their thing, the other girls are going to be spying. I'm thinking like they got disguises on, the really bad fake glasses. Maybe even the mustaches on. They really establish them trying to spy. But this is where we're going to have the moment that's going to develop Koziki's character. She is going to, while they're out on their date, Kudai's going to look over. And he's going to see the ex, and who I'm just calling for the purposes of this portion of the video, Douche-kun. making out at the bar on the other side. And he's going to have a complete mental breakdown and just storm out, disappear. And the girls are going to go looking for him, all three of them. And we're going to have a scene established where he is just, the entire alley is black and red, and he is just consistently bashing his fist against the wall until the point that his hand's almost bloodied. And then he's going to have a hand on his shoulder. And it's going to be Kuzuki, and she's going to hard slap him across the face. And when that happens, the entire black and red is going to disappear, and a faint glow of that yellow is going to start glowing up from her. And she's going to say, "Don't you ever let a woman have that kind of control in your life again." And it's going to be one of those things where there is a heartbeat. And we're going to start, this is kind of when she's going to start showing up more often throughout the story. I want it to be set up that she's going to not be in the store all the time, but consistently presence and or dangerous kind of playing games are going to wind up at the shop. And of course, also I want to say that Hayakawa is going to end up getting a lot of presents for giving her this information. Stuff that's going to make him uncomfortable, like figurines of a 5-star character he failed to get, and it just kind of mentally making him go into like I'm a slug, I'm a loser, I'm a failure. Having that kind of establishment. I love Hayakawa. He's going to be sometimes the coolest sounding guy in the world. He's like, girls are going to walk in, he's like, "Hello, how are you doing, ladies?" But then at the same time, he's going to be in the corner going, "I'm a slug, I'm a failure," because he didn't get his 5-star character he wanted. Now, the fourth girl is going to be established during the stereotypical Kudai is going to get really sick. He'll refuse to not stay at home and not work. And he's going to end up outside of his apartment, and then we're going to and when he faints in front of his apartment, we're going to be introduced to Takami. This is the childhood friend / stalker / yandere character without a knife. We don't need a knife. We don't need a stasher. We don't need someone who's going to cut someone up or kill them to make their love rival. Oh no, Takami is a more sophisticated yandere, where she has cameras everywhere. Literally, I want to have it established throughout the series, and a small little fun detail, that she's always going to be in the background, even before she's introduced. Like, Chapter 1, she's going to be a character in a full hoodie getup with black sunglasses, who ironically passes by Kudai, and we don't realize. Also, I'm going to have some fun. I want to have a few flying drones all over the place. But I want to establish that there are cameras everywhere. And even some of these panels that we're seeing could be just recordings from Takami's cameras. She is that kind of obsessed. She never trusted the ex, and she's never really fully never given up on him, even when he was about to get married. Takami is going to be a young woman, flat-chested. She does have a problem about the flat chest. You better not bring it up. She is going to have black hair, but I wanted to make sure it's established that it's got like the purple accent to it. And that doesn't matter if it's realistic or not realistic. And of course, her color whenever she's helping with stuff will be purple, which early on will set up as she's wiping him down whenever she gets him into his apartment, yelling at him about how he never takes care of himself even when they were kids. And then we have that flashback where it goes back to her doing the same thing when they were like in middle school, I think maybe would be a good age range. And then of course, as he goes to sleep, she's going to try to sneak a peek, but guess who walked in the apartment and saw her do that? Well, it wouldn't so happen to be Shizu and Tanda walk in. And of course, this is where we get our new rivalry. One thing I'm going to really like about this too is every time that every time Tanda has a moment to kind of riz up Kudai, I just want Takami to show up behind her and go, "Ah, I see the oldest look in the book," and kind of like make her panic. Like, "Ah, where did you come from?" She's like, "I was here from the very beginning." Like establishing the idea that she's always there, but ironically you don't see her. The kind of stalker character who really is scary. I wouldn't say full-on ninja, but she's supposed to be scary. And then, of course, this is where we'll have the main establishment of all the characters. And one thing I also want to do is I want to establish the like bromance kind of relationship between Kudai and Hayakawa. I need to set this up. It's an important thing. It needs set up. These characters are bromances through and through. They don't want to fuck each other. They don't want to be dating each other, but they sure as hell are bromances. Now, they're going to have a fun color. I'm going to give them orange when there is a bit of an emotional moment. But every time that happens, I want to have Tom to be the character who shows up and just at the wrong awkward moments. And like when they have a really strong bromance moment, everything will go white. They'll have that orange. And then everything will start fading back to where they actually are. And it'll be Tom going, huh? And then the guy's going, huh? And it just kind of be in that moment where it's that awkward stare like, let's pretend we never saw this. Of course, a big thing is the importance of that bromance is just how important it's going to be for breaking Kudai out of his shit. He has 4 beautiful women all wanting to be with him, even though he can't read a fucking room despite him being in a relationship. And I want it to be established that he still is having these mental breaks and these emotional breaks where he can't get over the ex. And one time, he's gonna go on a bit of a bender because he's just in such a bad mood. And Hayakawa is gonna walk into the bar, hand the money that would have gone into his gachas to the bartender to walk away, and he is going to sock Kudai in the face. And they are going to have a fight because he's going to get pissed and get in his face like, you have all these beautiful women coming after you, and all you care about is what? Her? She doesn't want you. She left. And I want it to be like hard. Like it's going to be a fight, and it is going to end with the comedic. They're both the next day at the shop, both bandaged up, bloodied up, have like bandages all wrapped around the others. And the 4 girls are going to go, I wonder what caused that. Now, of course, we're going to have fun and games, funny games with all 4 girls. Different stuff. Maybe throw in a Valentine's arc because it's kind of cliched. Maybe a little bit of a Christmas thing. But we're going to show up that they start having parties and gatherings at his apartment. And kind of show like, oh, hey, they're all getting really close. Even if maybe there's not a fully romantic thing there. At the very least, these girls are coming over to be there for him. And this is going to be where the final arc will begin. And of course, everybody's going to go, oh, what a cliche. But I want the final one to be the trip/beach episode arc. Now, what's going to happen is, out of nowhere, Hayakawa's going to show up and go, hey, I got these 5 tickets for this beach trip. You should go. And he asked the girls who are there, and then he looks in the corner, and like he almost sees one of the cameras, and he goes, Takami, you're invited as well. And I love that idea because she will show up at the train station. Now, we're going to establish why Hayakawa is setting up this beach trip. It is important. He didn't win anything. He did this intentionally. But as an audience, we don't know that. Now, we're going to have this huge, beach thing. Everyone has a standard thing. Oh, there's the bathing swimsuits, and he doesn't want to see her in the swimsuit. The whole thing. They'll have a nice little beach trip. But during one of the nights, Kudai and Shizu are going to have a down-to-earth conversation. And it's going to be established they both kind of have feelings for each other, to the point that Kudai alludes to one of his favorite series. And ironically, Shizu is going to remember earlier that day, she saw a plushie of that character. Now, the next day, her and Tanda are going to go on a search to find this plushie again. And through hilarious side stories, they will get it, while the other girls have a chance to do their little romantic side plot. But we're going to establish that while they're on the train, the Shizu wants to give him the bag with the plushie in it. But when she looks up about to give it to him, the other three girls are resting on him. And she realizes that maybe it's not now. And she kind of just takes a nap too. Now, here is where everything is coming together with this big story moment. And what I love is the final scene, because it is a giant F you to the audience. And I hate to say that. I don't want to say F you to the audience, but you're going to see why. So this is both panel and storyboarding for animators. How would you explain it? Now, we kind of have established that Kudai expects that Shizu is going to be showing up to his place. So what we're going to see first is, Kudai is going to show up back to his place. And as he's doing that, we're going to cut to the manga shop. The door is going to bust open, and a young woman in a full white sundress is going to walk out. And there will be a bit of a pink aura around her. And of course, in the background, we're going to see that Hayakawa is in the shop with a shocked expression on his face. Then we're going to go back to the apartment, and we're going to have a recreation of the first scene where we're going to show the sink. But this time, all the dishes are cleaned up, and we're going to see there are 6 rice dishes there, clean, polished, and each having a different color. Next, we're going to see that same woman in the white dress start to slowly approach the apartment complex. Then we're going to go to scene 2, which is going to be showing the living room. This time, fully cleaned up. No trash, no stray wires, no controllers. Just a very clean living room. Then we're going to see just a shadow on the stairs as we hear the stepping of footsteps going upstairs of the, because he'll be on the second story. And then we're going to cut to the appliances. And because he knows that Shizu's coming over, Kudai has the coffee pot there and he's making coffee. And then, of course, you have the shadow start to appear on Kudai's front door. And then we go to the table. We slowly pan up, and we finally show the facial features of the ex. We're going to have her stunningly beautiful. Brown hair, huge warm smile, big brown eyes, this stunning 10 out of 10. We're going to have it that she is more beautiful than the other girls who have been going after him this entire time. And that is when you will hear on the door the knock, knock, knock. And he's going to go, oh, that's Shizu. When he opens up the door, he's going to be met face to face with the same woman on the photos. It's going to be, and her name is going to be Kagami. He's going to open up the door, and Kagami is going to explain to him. She's going to say, Kudai, I love you. And a giant burst of pink is just going to explode out from her. And it's going to completely stun Kudai, of course, because he had no idea what the hell's going on here. And then here's where I'm a bit of a dick. We're then going to show back towards the same area where you could see the apartment complex. And from a distance, we're going to see Shizu holding the bag with the plushie in it. And instead of her normal light blue, a strong black aura around her with the dark blue accent's going to show up. And that's where I want to end the series. Okay, I know. Wait, what the fuck? You can't end it there. I know. But it's important to have at least part 1 of the series end on that cliffhanger. Because it's what began this series and what it's made me write everything in between. Now, a small other thing I want to do to justify this appearance. Because yes, Kagami showing up after being gone the entire series. This emotional weight on Kudai's heart. It can't just be her showing up and pronouncing her love. We need to explain, where'd she go? What the fuck happened? And why is she here? And that's where the small OVA side story would have to go. If it is animated, I have 3 episodes outlined. And if it's a more a manga, web novel kind of thing, I have 10 chapters wrote up that would be about a volume's worth of story. That will show, the very first thing we want to do is we show Kagami and Kudai, and of course, Hayakawa's friendship in high school. Show them dating, show that love, even seeing the first love confession, which will not be from Kudai. It's actually going to be Kagami being the one who approaches him. And yeah, we're going to see this young friendship between these 3 established. And then, of course, we're going to be introduced to Furude during this time period. Unfortunately, that is who I called Douche Kahun earlier. Furude is this blonde, not blonde hair, but like this more like, oh yeah, blonde hair. But he's like that kind of douchebag, always womanizer and everything. Kind of looks like he hangs out with the wrong side of town. And unfortunately, she's going to get tricked into thinking that Furude is a good guy. And at the establishment of the end of episode 1, he's going to force a kiss on her and then take a picture. And then episode 2, or the second part of the series, is going to show that he is blackmailing her to leave Kudai and be with him instead. And because out of fear of what Furude has on her outside of that picture, she leaves. She leaves everything behind to be with him. Now, we will establish there will be 2 nice chapters of these 2 being together. And then I'm a bit of a dick again, because then we're going to just show up Furude straight up hitting her because she's not willing to put out, and show just how much of an evil character he is, to the point that he straight up will, he's gonna beat her up. Now, there won't be what you're worried about. No, that is not going to happen. I'm not going to write or condone the writing of that kind of scene. He's just going to beat up a woman. Then the final portion of this will be kind of showing her and her emotional loophole that she's been going through. And the final bit will be her showing up at the manga shop. And because we'll show that she's, throughout the series, like after she got dumped, we'll show her she's been texting with Hayakawa asking if she can come over and see Kudai. It's very important. And when she shows up at the manga shop, it's going to shop Hayakawa. And the reason why he's going to look so shocked is because so that he doesn't sit there and message Kudai to, don't go home yet, you got to come here. She sits there and throws like 100,000 yen worth of pulls onto a game. And that's why he looks so stunned in that chapter. And we're going to see her last thoughts and feelings as she's going up the steps. And that series will end where the other series ended with her yelling, "I love you," and just showing that look of damn shock on Kudai's face. And that's the thing is. Now, mind you, I do have deeper stories that aren't fully being brought out here. They don't need to be brought up in what I'm explaining as a video to give you an idea what I want to write. This is just giving you the base outline of what I want to do. I do want to write a very realistic main character. Kudai is very important to me because he's kind of the emotions of what I felt when I got left by my fiance. So for me, I need to write him. I don't need to voice him. I need to state that. If there's an animated project, I don't need to voice him. But I would want to make sure that he's established as having emotions and not like Anakin Skywalker, I hate sand kind of hating emotions. I just need him to be real. I need him to show that he's fucked up from this. He didn't get out of this breakup unscathed. He's fucked up. His head and heart are broken. And it's going to take a lot of things to get him out of this. 4 beautiful women, a bromance, and a good sock to the jaw. And he will eventually get it. Now, anyone wondering, well, wait. How's the series going to continue? Oh. I really don't have a good continuation. I don't. A big issue with this is I have a good idea, but I don't know exactly how to continue it. I've wrote 5 or 6 different continuations, and all of them I've disliked. I've had it where he right away takes her back. I've had it where he outright denies her. I've had it where she gets part of the harem. I have it end with a nuke just dropping on the town and ending the series there. It is... I, myself, don't have a good ending, and I don't even think I'm smart enough to write a good ending or a good continuation to just make this kind of worth everything. Don't get me wrong. I love my story. I do. I don't know how to continue my story. How do you write Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and then make the next... I'm not smart enough to do that. I don't have a good enough story to continue it. I just need to see if I can get this thing off the ground. Rather Patreon, crowdfunding. Rather I need to get people volunteer base behind this. I would like to just get this off the ground before I think about how I would continue the story. Do I sit down and give Kudai his happy ending with one of the ladies? I don't even think exactly Shizu's the best one for him to end up. And I definitely don't think Kagami's the best one for him to end up with. But it's kind of hard to figure out where to continue the story. Obviously, there's no matter what's going to be the wrong impression that Jizu's going to get, because she's going to go, well, your ex showed up, didn't she? And there's going to be that whole fighting thing where she's probably not going to show up to the manga store for like a week, and then like he's going to have to chase after her. Or there's going to be, I don't know, something ridiculous. Like, I do imagine that Takami is going to sit there watching through her drones, smashing her control like panel, like mad because she showed up and is ruining everything. I have ideas. I do. It's just I don't have a strong enough idea where to go. I guess I would want to see what a fan base of people would think. What would they want? Who would they think out of the 5 girls? Because, yes, I'll add Kagami on the list. Even for you people who would want the orange with his best buddy. Please don't say his best buddy. Please don't. I don't want to have to learn how to write for Yaoi. Please no. No. Please no. But this is just an idea I have. I can't say it's good. I can't say it's great. But it's my own baby. I like the first and closing scene. I like the idea of the characters I've built. And I, in my own mind and on my prototype scripts I have for episodes and chapters, I have stuff and storyboards wrote out. I just have no talent to put any of it to paper. So, yes, this is my video about the prototype phase of falling in love again at the manga store. Even the name is technically in a prototype state. It's much better than Do You Love Your Mother and her two-hit super attack, whatever the fuck it's called. Eat your fucking heart out, Japan. But no, if anybody has any suggestions, or if you would like to help me with this project to get it off the ground, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you guys liked what you heard and you want to see this project continue, please hit the like button. It's going to tell me that you guys want to see this get made. And it would kind of, make my ego feel a little bit better. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll hope to see you guys here in the next video. Geek out.